This woman, heavily pregnant, was walking down the street when suddenly she felt a sharp pain in her abdomen. The pain was so intense that she collapsed on the ground, writhing in agony. At this moment, her mother-in-law was sitting at home, happily watching TV. After receiving an urgent call from her daughter-in-law saying she was about to give birth, she immediately called the daughter-in-law's grandmother to rush to the hospital. Her daughter couldn't bear to watch her mother's actions. She ran over to scold her for not going herself, but her mother pretended not to hear and continued to calmly watch her TV show, completely unbothered. Meanwhile, the poor daughter-in-law had to rely on the help of strangers as she waited for the ambulance to arrive. At that moment, a luxury car pulled up. A wealthy mother, also a mother herself, happened to glance through the car window and saw the woman sitting on the ground, holding her belly in pain, looking shocked. She quickly asked the driver to pull over. The wealthy woman hurriedly helped the woman into the car, and they drove straight to the hospital without delay. The woman's name was Ji-eun, and during the prime years of her life, she married her boyfriend, Shang-hee. Shang-hee had once sworn to Ji-eun that his love for her was like the horizon at sunset, a straight line that would last forever. The newlyweds were deeply in love, dreaming of a bright future. But Ji-eun's mother-in-law, disapproving of her humble origins, looked down on her. Even on the day she went into labor, she had to go out to buy the cold noodles her mother-in-law liked. And even when she heard Ji-eun was about to give birth on the street, there was no sign of urgency. Luckily, with the help of the wealthy woman, Ji-eun was able to make it to the hospital in time. However, while Ji-eun was desperately giving birth, Shang-hee was having drinks with his female boss at an irrelevant social gathering. His boss, named Jean, was the heiress of a powerful conglomerate. She had long been infatuated with Shang-hee, who was both talented and handsome. Shang-hee deliberately got drunk and sent Jean home. Under the influence of alcohol, he ended up sleeping with her. Meanwhile, Ji-eun endured several hours of labor and gave birth to a boy. After having her son, Ji-eun felt incredibly fulfilled with her life with Shang-hee. Once their baby turned 1 month old, Ji-eun was eager to find a job to lighten the family's financial burden, hoping her mother-in-law would help take care of the baby. But her mother-in-law was visibly displeased and suggested Ji-eun ask her grandmother to help instead. However, Ji-eun couldn't trust her grandmother because of her old age. She promised to pay her mother-in-law a large sum of money once she got a job. Hearing that, her mother-in-law reluctantly agreed. On the way, Ji-eun called Shang-hee, who was about to finish work, and asked him to buy some clothes at the mall. At that moment, Ji-eun saw a man ahead, stealing someone's wallet. Without thinking, she chased after him. With a swift move, she caught the thief. But it turned out the wallet belonged to Jean. As Ji-eun relaxed her grip, the thief escaped in a hurry. Jean reached out and helped Ji-eun up from the ground. She expressed her gratitude for Ji-eun's brave act. Since there was no loss, Jean decided not to call the police. She thanked Ji-eun again and left, but their fates were just beginning to intertwine. Both reached for a colorful tie at the same time. Ji-eun looked up in shock and saw that it was Jean, who had just left. They felt an instant connection. Ji-eun decided to give Jean the tie she had chosen. Jean, in gratitude, left her phone number and decided to become good friends with Ji-eun. Little did they know, the tie they both bought was meant for the same man. Looking at Jin's retreating figure, Ji-eun thought to herself that Jean, like her, was someone with great taste.